The Olympic 10,000 metres champion from Morocco. Skah's first track outing of the summer this. We've seen him in form over the country and the roads throughout the winter. But Skah, well, he's been training very, very hard indeed up in the Pyrenees at Font-Romeu, one of the great French training centres. And Skah has said consistently over the last few weeks that his first objective this year before the World Championships is to attack the world's 10,000 metres record at Oslo. This race, of course, will be a very important part of his preparation for that world record attempt. And to help him along tonight, there's some very good competition indeed. You can't get much better than Jobs Ondieki. Ondieki, of course, the world champion at this distance. One of the fastest men ever. There he is, number 140. Also jogging along with Jobs there is Jonah Koech, 13:10 man, who was second in Rome just 2 days ago. Koech must be feeling that run. It's got to be in his legs, and I'm somewhat surprised to see him racing just 2 days later. 13:10 performance. It doesn't matter who you are, I don't care what anybody says, it's going to be in your legs for 2 or 3 days or more. And Koech maybe tonight going to do some pacemaking for his compatriot Jobs Ondieki. 148 there. That's João Junqueira of Portugal. Very big field here, a lot of men gathered together. In Rome, of course, it was very, very hot on Wednesday evening, 30 degrees centigrade just a couple of days ago. Well, the weather throughout Central Europe has changed dramatically since then, and you can see the conditions that all the athletes are faced with throughout this meeting this evening in the north of Paris. 71, Pascal Thibault of France, better known as a 1500 metre runner. There's Khalid Skah. He's been in pretty good form. Double world cross-country champion, of course, in 1990 and 1991. Then last year he had to settle for 4th in the snows of Boston, and in March this year had to settle for 6th behind a phalanx of Kenyans. 12.5 laps of the track then. French 10,000 metres record holder Thierry Pontel also in this race. And Pontel, due to some good running, had various problems last year after a very successful 1991 in which he's broke the French 10,000 metres record. Well, if that figure out in front looks familiar to you, number 80, that's because it's Dionisi Chisayo of Burundi. And in Rome 2 nights ago, when the world's fastest time for this distance this year was set, he was the pacemaker as well. Charles Cheriot in second place there, obviously a pacemaker, and Khalid Skah moves through into 3rd place. Khalid Skah, who despite all his achievements will be remembered at least for the next year or two for that great controversy after the Olympic 10,000 metres in Barcelona, where Hamou Boutayeb, his compatriot, was accused of assisting him in the last couple of laps and detrimentally affecting the race of Richard Chelimo, who eventually went on to take the silver medal behind Khalid Skah's vicious sprint. Skah there in the blue and yellow in 3rd place does possess one of the best kick finishes in the world, and my own feeling is that he was poorly treated in Barcelona. 26 seconds he ran for the last 200 metres in the Olympic Games of that 10,000 metres, and Richard Chelimo could not match that under any circumstances. So this pace is very fast indeed, gone through 600 metres there in around 1:33. That's about 62 second pace. No wonder this pack is strung out, just 2 men abreast, and a gap developing behind Khalid Skah already, because that pace is very fast indeed. Jobs Ondieki, the world champion, is in 4th place at the moment. Also in this field, apart from Thibault and Pontel, is Cyril Laventure of France. Laventure, now 29 years old, very, very useful as a youngster, has never really fulfilled that potential at major championship level. So Chisayo still leads then. The pace almost suicidal. Look at this, coming up to 1,200 metres, and watch the clock. Well, around 3:09 there, that's 63 second pace, just about on world record pace, certainly around 13:05 pace, and Skah would normally speed up in the last kilometre. I'll be very surprised indeed if he can maintain this, but certainly it's sorting out the men from the boys in the early stages here. Cyril Laventure now of France back in about 7th place in the blue shorts. Jobers Ondieki in 5th place as Pontel has moved up into 4th place behind Khalid Skah. Sishayo then leads from Charles Chariot. Khalid Skah in 3rd, Thierry Pontel in 4th, Jobers Ondieki in 5th. Laventure back in 7th now. He's gradually moved up, the Frenchman. You can see how they're strung out around the track. There's no bunching at all at this pace. That result in Rome a couple of nights ago was the fastest 5,000 in the world this year. It had previously been held by Rob Denmark of Britain, who had won in Seville with 13:16, but the 5,000 metres in Rome won in a superb 13:10.66 by Ezekiel Bitok of Kenya. And indeed the Kenyans took 1st, 2nd and 3rd in that 5,000 in Rome. Jonah Koech and Kibiego Kororia coming in behind Bitok. And Koech, remember, in this race tonight, Javier Sotomayor also in that high jump competition, but none of those jumpers enjoying the conditions. So as they head down of the back straight, just about to complete 5 laps. Watch the clock, because this is very fast indeed. 5:15 would be 63-second pace, and there it is, 5:17, so they're on around 63.5-second pace, so it has slowed somewhat over the last couple of laps. They're now on around 13:12, 13:15 pace. Charles Chariot picks up the pace. He's been doing some road racing around Europe. Never really fulfilled the potential he showed back in the Olympic Games back in 1984. Charles Chariot, when as a 19-year-old, he ran 13:18. Khalid Skah looking very relaxed in 2nd place there. Thierry Pontel, 1:79, looking stronger and stronger as the race goes on. Interesting athlete, Pontel. French record holder of a 10,000. He ran 27:24 back in 1991. But has failed consistently at major championships, the 1990 Europeans, 1991 World Championships and the 1992 Olympics. Indeed, in Barcelona last year, he dropped out of his Olympic 10,000 metres heat, Pontel. 29 years old now, only 13:21 for this distance, and if he can stay with this pace, he's going to smash that time. 2:78 there, coming up on the outside. Looks like the young Moroccan Jabour. Skah deep in concentration there. Very good shot there of the Olympic champion's pace. Goes past Charles Chariot now. Getting impatient with that. The pace obviously slackening. And you can hear the roar of this 7,000 strong crowd now as Skah hits the front for the first time. And Pontel goes past him and the roars get louder still. 6 laps to go then. Pontel begins to push it along nicely now. Ondieki having trouble staying with this pace. 1:42, moving up into 3rd place there. That is Jonah Koech, the 25-year-old Kenyan, 13:10 just 2 days before this race. Now Pontel moves wide, so Skah has taken the lead again. Pontel has pushed it along for only half a lap or so. Skah, Pontel, Koech, Ondieki, Laventure. Also in there as well as Abdellah Behar, number 61 of France, 30 years old now, Behar. 3:46 is Jabour in the red vest there and the black shorts, back in 4th or 5th place. Don't know anything about that Moroccan indeed, Jabour. Nothing at all. Skah still looking quite comfortable. Remember, we know he's in good form. He was 6th in the world cross country back in March, Skah. Then he won a road race in Aberdeen 3 or 4 weeks ago in Scotland over 5,000 metres. He ran 13:38 there. And again, Skah kicks away. If the pace slackens one little bit, he takes the lead and pushes it along. He wants the lap times to be consistent. He's like a metronome, Skah. He's quite happy to lead in races, but he prefers to sit in and use that kick of his. But that was just like a little dig in the ribs for Pontel. Come on, let's speed it up, let's keep it going. And again, Pontel comes past him. The lead changing all the time now. Pontel, Skah, Koech, Jabeur and Ondieki. The other French names have dropped back. Vincent Rousseau of Belgium nowhere to be seen now. Thibault, Laventure, they're all beginning to suffer as this pace continues. I love to see races like this where the lead changes again and again during the race. The athletes battling for supremacy, psychological and physical. And at the moment, Pontel really enjoying this one. Remember, his best is only 13:21, and well, if he can keep this going, he's sure to shatter that. The 13:20 barrier, always very, very satisfying one to break through. Pontel's target tonight, exactly that. Jonah Koech there looking remarkably sprightly considering he ran in Rome. And now Jabeur to the left of picture there in the Moroccan vest, moves through onto the shoulder of his compatriot Khalid Skah. Yobez Ondieki almost unnoticed at the back of this group, still running strongly. He's been in good form, Ondieki, has a best of 13:01, but he ran 13:17 at Seville, though he was only fourth. He does normally race himself into shape now as they go through with 2 laps to go, and Pontel takes the lead yet again from Koech. Britain's 5,000 metre running going from strength to strength at the moment, although in major championships we seem to have lost that knack of winning medals. Rob Denmark, Ian Hamer, Jack Buckner served Britain very well last year in the Rome Grand Prix, where they all ran 39 or 13:10, but came home from Barcelona without any medal. 600 metres to go, and Thierry Pontel, who has recently had various personal problems, marital problems, and has broken up with his wife, who was his coach as well as his wife, we understand, seems to have benefited greatly from that. His 31-year-old Ondieki still hanging on to this pace, as is Jabeur, the young Moroccan, back in 4th place. Pontel doesn't have a big kick, certainly not alongside the likes of Khalid Skah, neither is Yobez Ondieki. It's Skah who is the speed merchant of this group. We know that. We know Skah is lethal in this sort of situation. Jonah Koech at last, those Kenyan legs feeling the tiredness from Wednesday's race in Rome, has dropped back into 5th place and is some 10 metres down on this quartet now, but Skah hits the front at the top of the bend, and this is where we know that Skah, whose name in Moroccan means the runaway, can really kick away from just about anybody in the world. Jabeur giving him a good run for his money though. Look at this, the very slightly built Jabeur trying to go with his compatriot. Skah grits his teeth. Jabeur losing ground on the Olympic 10,000 metres champion. Pontel still driving forwards for the tape, but Khalid Skah is going to take this one. That's good running in the conditions. 13:15 for the Olympic 10,000 champion. He's got to be happy with that as a season's opener, Khalid Skah. And Jabeur there very happy with his 2nd place, 13:17 we got him at. Thierry Pontel has smashed the 13:20 barrier. That's excellent running for the young Frenchman, and Yobez Ondieki having to settle for 4th place, but again he too under 13:20. That was the most exciting 5,000 I've seen for some time. All 4 men in with a chance at the bell. Khalid Skah, of course, the expected victor as they hit the last 200 metres, and he didn't disappoint. But he's such a gutsy runner, Skah. And look at that shot. Real study of concentration there. Checks over his shoulder to see what's going on. Still wise enough to do that, Khalid Skah. Not arrogant enough to assume he can never be passed. He has been out-kicked before, but in this sort of form, he'll be very, very hard to get past indeed. Checks over that shoulder as well, just to see what damage that build-up and that acceleration around the bend has done to the other athletes, and it had done more than enough was the answer he found when he looked. So the win then for Khalid Skah in 13:15.85, Brahim Jabeur 13:17.12, and Thierry Pontel 13:17.71. Well, that really is the end of the Saint Denis Athletics. From me, Tim Hutchings, goodbye.